paint.
Q&A in the Kitchen. It's a podcast YouTube series where tattoo artists and piercer talk about some of the more common questions that those that collect tattoos and piercings may have. Brought to you in part by Skin Kitchen Tattoo in the Axiom Body Piercing Studio. So this is part 2 of a two-parter, talking about the most painful places to get tattooed on the body and the least painful, kind of going through every part of the body and figuring out which is the most painful. If you missed part 1, you can find that wherever you're listening to this or you're watching the video. You're on the YouTube. Today's panel, of course, has Jack Lowe, tattoo artist and owner of the Skin Kitchen, Jimmy St. John, tattoo artist at the Skin Kitchen, myself, DaVo, body piercer and owner of Axiom Body Piercing, and Brent Starr, tattoo artist at the Skin Kitchen. So let's join the conversation in session.
Yes.
So,
in female-wise, I don't think I've seen the labias, the outer labia or labia majoras tattooed, and I've seen the pelvic
it's awful
area
to tattoo.
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm
like
sure
an
it's
elbow.
very, very sensitive.
It's so stretchy. It stretches like, I've done, I don't know how many on dancers and stuff, like the butterflies and stuff down there, and their outer labia is just kind of like the body of the butterfly, and you got wings on the side. Dude, it's awful. Like, you can put your foot on that thing and stretch it like a mile. It's horrible.
They're very resilient.
Because you need tight, taut skin to tattoo it.
Yeah.
And that's the last place you got tight, taut skin.
And it's not designed to be.
No, it's designed to stretch and change and all that
for
stuff.
a reason.
It's not fun to tattoo.
It's for
you or
babies.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because they
It's
get
not much fun for the tattooer.
Regardless of what everybody'd like to do.
And it's not fun for the receiver.
It's for babies.
Yeah, it's awful.
Okay, so then let's move on to the pelvic area on men or women.
Isn't that what we just covered?
No,
you were talking about vaginas.
Talking about genital.
Oh, so up a little bit more.
We didn't talk about bikini.
So like your bikini line,
what
lower
would be
stomach.
like a bikini?
Okay, lower stomach bikini.
Yeah,
All right.
Or Speedo.
This area.
It tickles. Yeah, and why is it that they always get like demon heads? Like I've seen like 4 or 5.
Maybe they think their vaginas.
Because they're so strong and forceful and vicious. I think.
Maybe they think that thing's a man eater or something. I don't know.
Some of them like anyway.
Because they don't. Why don't they have woman eater sharks? I mean, we're trying to be gender.
They probably listen to metal music.
I don't think it's fair. We have man eating sharks, but not woman eating sharks.
I don't think sharks. I think sharks just eat people.
So now they're
Just
people eaters.
people?
We're just gonna make it gender.
Persons.
That's
gender
all
proper?
they eat.
No. And they eat fish, humans.
Fish humans.
We were talking
What's a
about
fish human?
Fish and humans.
Oh, there's a comma.
Well, I was talking about like how they got man eater sharks. How come they don't have woman eater sharks? And he said, well, they're people eating sharks.
Because male privilege.
Well, yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, we're the only ones
It's because
that get eaten by sharks. Okay.
In the English language, the male version is the general.
Yeah.
Like it is really truly the.
Well, they were the guys out hunting and fishing.
Because when
and
you
shit,
say
so,
man, you're talking about human beings.
yeah,
That's what it's called. Mankind.
Yeah.
It's
they'll probably change that now that we've said that. But
well, I mean.
Oh, they're like, yeah, we can get mad about that.
it's people kind.
It's a thing that.
It's humankind.
Its original intent has been so.
How about a human eater?
It wasn't designed for this day and age.
I know.
We'll
I'm
just leave
I'm
it
being
at
funny.
that and not
I'm
get
being
into
silly.
it.
We've retrograded
Yeah,
a bit.
I'm just being silly.
So it's very ticklish, which means it hurts.
Yeah.
Now,
Now, women usually tend to deal with it better than men because they're built to have babies. They expand.
Plus,
and,
they have a
all that.
higher
They
pain
have-
threshold.
Yeah.
They have a higher
Chicks are
pain
just
threshold. They have less
pain-wise,
nerve
they're
endings
tough.
there.
Most
It's
of
just like the
time-
nipples.
Most
Male
of the time,
nipples never
females are like
mature.
ticklish almost
yeah.
every time.
Oh, that's always fun to tattoo. I know it's fun to pierce.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's
the,
nothing like I'm jerking and jiggling
moving
around.
part is kind of challenging because they kind of want to like kind of do that little jump.
When you
kinda
contract your
move,
stomach or hold your
yeah.
breath or breathe in it,
And they're scared of men.
it's moving.
So they often flinch when you
I
do
had that actually, Monday, tattooing that young
yeah.
lady's lower ribs and under her stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And she was, just starting to college. She's a young lady.
Yeah.
And we're tattooing, and like I had her laying on her side, and as soon as I start pulling a line, she would roll forwards and jerk her hands up and down and like suck in her breath. Her stomach is moving in so many directions away from me. Like I finally had to put my elbow like on her hip, on her leg, like on her thigh, and hold her from rolling over, and then tattoo against her, like to keep her from moving. And she still sucked her stomach in and breathed
And
out.
so and a lot of that's just instinct. And
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not really
It is.
much.
Yeah, it's nothing you can do to help it. It just
Yes,
is
there
awful.
is.
Other
Well,
than
you can be
sedate 'em.
Yes, there is. Relax.
Yeah, it helps.
Just
Relaxing is
Relax. Let that happen. There's the only reason you're reacting. It's out of protection and fear.
Right.
But you know what's coming. You are in control of your body. The only one that can adjust this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So chill.
So we might as well talk about it now.
Well, the more you fight it, the worse it
The
is.
stomach.
Yeah.
So I would separate the stomach
From the lower stomach, yeah.
from the chest.
Well, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
a back or a thigh. It's got
Yeah.
a lot of nuancy
Nuances.
little spots. So
There's
you
some
know,
spot that sucks. Like down in here, I was like, "Are you on my nipples?" He's like, "No." I had to get up and look
that's a good.
because you're right under him. And I'm like, "Jesus, it feels like you're tattooing my nipples. I don't want them blacked out."
like
dude."
I had somebody describe it. It felt like they were cutting them off.
A little
Yeah.
bit.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like the picture your brain is seeing, like your nipple is about half as big as your chest.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like in your head, you're like,
Yeah, in your
man,
head.
you're on my nipple. Well, if you drew that
Your
out,
nipple's only
like
that
where
big,
you
so-
started feeling like I was on your nipples are this big in your head.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
it's a weird, but again, for whatever reason, the spaghetti monster thought that we needed tons of nerves right around that nipple because I don't know, that's a dumb
They
move.
feel good when they're
I didn't think
pinched,
that-
if they're pinched nicely.
Well, then if it
Yeah.
feels good to touch them, it doesn't feel good to tattoo them.
I'm
but,
sure it doesn't.
My stomach area wasn't bad getting tattooed.
Really?
Until it got up to like where my rib cage starts, that
Yeah.
bottom of the rib cage, where you're halfway through your stomach there. That
The
area kind of
chandelier
sucked.
area.
Yeah,
And
that area big.
And why do you have ribs?
That's where the
to
nipples
protect
start
all your
again.
vital organs.
Because vital organs,
Vital,
right? And
yeah.
it starts hurting where? The ribs.
Right around the ribs.
So
Yeah.
where
Now, I will
there's
tell you, the belly button was strange feeling. It didn't hurt, but when you tattooed down in my belly button, that when you blacked that
it
out,
made that weird electric
Oh.
wire in there, like
Yeah.
strike somewhere
it
that
was
didn't make sense.
weird.
The
It was a
navel is-
weird feeling.
Navel is the oldest scar you have.
Right.
That's a big one.
But it's
It
it's
is.
a strange feeling when you start blacking like inside that wall
Yeah.
of that navel. Like, man, was that weird. I was like, what? You're
As
in
an
my
artist,
belly
you
button,
start
aren't
drying-
Like,
As an
yeah.
artist, you kind of dry heave.
Yeah.
You're like, man, I'm going to hell. I'm a terrible person.
And I get that from when I
this is awful.
when I pierce, like I've pierced a lot of navels
Yep.
over the years, and I always like they people react to the forceps. I think more so not because they pinch or they hurt when they pinch,
It's that
as much as
sensation.
it just feels weird to have something
Yeah.
on the inside of there. It's almost like they're
It's
feeling
foreign.
around in your stomach,
Yeah.
and just like.
It's
Yeah.
like
Foreign as hell.
it's
She'll
like its
puke.
own country. It has its own rules. You know, it's like the Vatican. You know, it doesn't really
We're
go
in
along
Italy,
with
but we're not
anything
Italy.
else,
Yeah.
and it's smack dab right in a weird spot of all of it.
Yeah.
It's once you get into that, it's kind of like, well, a nipple in a way, like when you're tattooing right over a nipple. Like there's nothing else on your body like that.
Well,
No, there
it's
isn't.
It's so there's
partially your
weird
mother.
little
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
partially
Partially
what?
leather and the scar
Yeah.
tissue that's left over from the
It's
umbilical
the start
cord.
of you. And
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
right.
It's like
That's
your
where you
nucleus.
began.
But yeah, so it's a weird one, but it's very rare. I imagine it's going to get more popular, like everything is. Bigger and everywhere and arms.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Right.
there'll probably come a time where it's just a normal
Yeah.
spot,
I
but
mean-
but it's pretty rare now, at least
Yeah.
for mainstream. Mostly for I think
I approached my front like my back. Like you got this whole back for a back piece. Well, you got the same thing in the front. You got a whole.
It is. It's a solid
Instead of breaking
panel.
it up into a chest and then this and that, and then, just
Yeah.
do the whole thing as one piece, like the back. Like why not?
Yeah, but I think a lot of people, like I said, the chandeliers are really popular
yeah.
now, and
Yep.
that kind of eagle thing. That
Yeah.
it's what I would call the eagle shape,
Right.
which the main focus is in the center,
sternum.
and then it leaps out
Mhm.
over the collarbone area.
Which is a very painful spot.
yes, which
FYI.
I have a rosary, and I absolutely hated the collarbone.
Yeah.
That
I
was
don't like the
possibly one
sternum.
of the part. The sternum it just rattled.
I thought the
me.
sternum was
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
But when she got up
Mm-hmm.
and started filling in the color in those rows, and the stupid, well, that's stupid thing. We had to, of course, have the exact amount that's on a rosary.
Right.
So, she did all the outline. The outline wasn't too bad, and then she went back in and started
shading.
filling. And just as soon as you get to that kind of okay, this is starting to fill, and then move on to the next one.
Yep. Next.
And they're all on my
B.
collarbone.
Yeah.
Well, that's where that skin turns and it changes and starts
Oh,
to get real
yes.
thin and like it's just not that it hurts so much, but it's just it's weird.
Well, and
You know?
in all of this, because there's going to be people out there that go, "That's ridiculous. I barely felt it." Well, we can't cover every type of tattoo
No.
Right. for
that you're
every type of
getting.
person.
Some tattoos are laid out very large, where you'll have a big negative spot where you're
Yep.
barely tattooed. That is considered like the worst spot in that area. So overall, you're gonna be like, that wasn't bad. So I mean, we're talking very,
Yeah.
vaguely. So, but when you're going over a spot like that on the artist side of it, they don't want to tattoo it as much as you don't want to get tattooed there. You know what I mean? Like they think, because that skin just thins out, so that target gets smaller.
Yeah.
So
it'll blow out easy.
So a lot of times you'll go easy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can at least go that hard, and I'm not going to tattoo their soul. So it's kind of a more tedious process, but it's a more pain. But you're scared of it too, so you're tensing up more, so you're going to move more.
Worse.
So it's stacking up to where I'm going to have to spend more time here making it look right during this transition because you think it's going to be bad. So you're making it worse for both.
Yeah, and one of the
that
things
really is very accurate, I'd say.
Absolutely.
That descriptor, yeah.
And one of the things on like the client side of I remember about it's like, okay, I need to wait until take a deep breath. Okay, now she's tattooing. I just slowly let it out.
Yeah.
I don't want to move. Oh, I can't move my neck. Back of my neck's itching. I need to move my arm and itch this. And that was the hardest part.
That's why relaxing.
And on top,
relaxing is the key. Well, like, and that's the thing. Like, if you're not control breathing and you're huffing and puffing and not paying attention to when the tattooist is on your skin and dipping or doing whatever, like those are the times to take the deep breath and all that when we're not touching you. Once we touch you, you need to be settled in and
when you feel the stretch hand touch you, that's when you just let your body go, let all your nerves and muscles just gel and just relax and let that 10 seconds happen, and then when they're done and they're wiping,
breathe and do all that, readjust.
Then it starts, and then you go into your relaxed state.
It's like rowing a boat with a team effort. Like there's a time for everybody to be moving. There's a time for everybody to be up and going.
There's no way around it.
Talking about that, like moving up, like the center of the chest, and like we were talking about the over the collarbones and whatnot. When you get to the outside, like where your armpit and your arm meets your chest,
outside pec.
That's some sweet meat right in here. Like, good Lord, does that hurt? And it's horrible to tattoo because it's so stretchy.
Yeah,
because it's it's built to move, and if you get bigger or smaller or whatever.
Yeah, however you're holding your arm.
Man, does it suck to tattoo for us?
Yeah,
and it's not fun to get tattooed either.
No,
at all.
And again, that's kind of like that multiplier to make it even worse.
Yep.
And that's probably why it is the worst to begin with.
Yeah.
Is, because in our minds, so this line, there's this curved line transitioning. When is it okay? When their arms like this, or like this, or like this, or like this,
right.
or like that?
We're trying to find the right spot.
It's just a difficult area because you're a human being,
right?
And the physiology of it, and then the skin is weird.
Yeah, because if you're pulling a line from like over here where you need them sitting up, and you're doing this line, well, I'm transitioning over to your chest, which I need you sitting up again. But when I go through this area, I need you to pull your arm out and so it's got a better angle and for the skin and stretch. And like, you can't sit up and do that. So like, okay, hold on, we got to lay you down, and I'm continuing this line now. Okay, now I got to sit you back up.
Oh, there's a lot of movement around.
There's a lot going on right there, man. Because like, if you're just pulling that line while they're sitting up, okay, it's going in great. It's going in great. Same pressure, and I go over here, and this line looks great. That looks like in the middle. There's no line.
And
there's no line. Like I did the same thing, but there's no line because I didn't adjust.
Because you're transitioning through all these different countries with all these different rules.
Exactly.
And you're just driving through thinking you're going to get away with it.
Not going to happen.
So it's like you're up before the Union.
Yeah.
Union.
Yeah, you went from like East Germany to West Germany. If anybody remembers the Berlin Wall, like it's free. It's not free. Like what I mean.
So
like,
part of the reason an area is considered a more painful area depends on a lot of factors. So you could have an artist that is just a whiz in that area, knows what these, has these tricks to just whiz right through it, or your artist knows those are trouble areas, so they set up negative spaces, so there's very little tattooing there, or you've got a guy who doesn't know any of that and just packs in, blends color through there. So
let me saturate it a little bit.
That's fun.
Those three experiences are going to be very different.
Does it look like hamburger yet?
Well, I've always noticed. I have customers sometimes. The other day, I had a guy. We're doing a reaper from like his wrist to his shoulder.
Hoodie ghost.
Don't fear him.
He's awesome, dude. It's a huge reaper. It's got a skull lantern and all that. So we're tattooing him, and he gets all-day tattoo appointments. So we start at 1, and we go until like 8. Well, about 6, 7 o'clock, Brent was doing some pork chops that day, small little tattoos.
Yeah.
And this lady had like similar to your arm, the old school with the dots and the stars, but like 2 or 3 little pieces that weren't very big.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, is that hurting?" Like, I don't think tattoos hurt at all. I'm like, "Well, what's the longest you ever set? Like an hour and a half? Cool. Yeah, that's pretty tolerable." He's been here for 7 hours. it hurts no matter what you're
Yeah.
getting at that point.
Right. Yeah.
know?
So that's the one thing to consider as well.
Okay, so on to common lady tattoos, the rib cage on the side.
They suck.
Yeah.
They're considered one of the toward the top of the list
top
as far as
level
most
hurt.
painful for
And
most
I-
people.
And oddly enough, is usually a first time tattoo or like
Yeah.
tattoo client.
Well, they're so aesthetic looking.
They look
They're
cool.
very nice looking. They flow well on the body, so people graduate. Yeah.
Can if they're done right.
Yeah, they
Just like
graduate
the chandeliers, if they're not done right, they
Well,
look
yeah.
terrible.
If you don't tattoo anything well, you take
You're
a simple
gonna
design
suck.
and poop.
Yeah.
But it's very aesthetically pleasing to look at. It flows on the body well, but it's not a great idea for a first tattoo to start out with. And it's a difficult area to tattoo because of the skin texture and the thinness of it over the ribs
And angles.
and the angles, and it's very painful for the customer.
Yeah.
You know, to get. There's a lot of nerve endings.
I think it's popular because it's hidden, but it's very easily shown.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's not hard to just
Yep.
peek that, but I'm never, when do I have my shirt off? So it's a kind of an out of the way spot to get something, but
Right.
still you don't have to pull your pants
And
off
they can still wear open
to show it.
backs and all
So
that
yeah,
stuff.
a lot of first timers do tend to get something on their ribs, and for the tattooer, that sucks because
Yeah.
it's your first tattoo. You're nervous anyway. You're gonna,
Yeah.
a lot of times, not always, because man, I have some really incredibly unbelievable first timers that
Yep,
breeze
me
through
too.
stuff. But
Yep.
generally, it's going to cause you to be more uncomfortable, move more, and this is an awkward position where a lot of times I have to have my arm up over like onto your belly, and my hand. It's just it's a very personal spot to get tattooed.
Absolutely.
Very intimate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
a good
That's
way
the
of
word I was
putting
looking
it.
for. It's more intimate of a spot to get tattooed. So, and you've never been tattooed before, and you've got this freaking gorilla laying on you, carving on you. There's just you're right. It's not necessarily a good spot for a first timer to go.
I
but
used to recommend them to if you want to get a tattoo and you're thinking about doing your ribs, why don't we do something smaller, like a little flower or something like on your arm or your ankle or somewhere else, just so you get the feel. You know what you're getting into. You can experience a tattoo before getting your ribs.
Yeah.
Because, it gives you a good idea to gauge by. Whether they do it or not, it's up to them. And like I said, I've had some great clients that have gone first tattoo on their ribs and done great.
And that makes it even harder to say that, because it's not. I mean, it's kind of like golf. You hit just enough shots that keep you coming back, even though you suck. It's just like that. It's like, man, there's just enough people that handle it way better than I expected to where I'm not. Maybe they're one of them, and I shouldn't talk them, to someone. It leaves you in that gray zone where you're usually just like, okay, I'll do the best I can. This is probably going to suck.
So and hopefully they're prepared for
you
it.
hate to give them a really rough experience for their first experience.
Because it seemed like until probably a decade ago, it wasn't common.
No, well,
it was more for the hardcore collectors back.
Usually it was
back a
somebody
while
that was
back.
working on a full suit.
Yeah.
I'd say about a decade ago is when it was common.
Okay, so
I
that's
think
when
it's
I'm
faded
old,
out a little
so
bit.
10
Yeah, a
years.
decade
What's
is
10
nothing
years?
anymore.
So closer to 15,
but
20.
now the
because
stuff
for
you do on
that,
ribs are small.
the only
in
person
general.
I knew that would ever have a small piece would be like meat tags.
Yeah,
Military tags.
names.
Well, if you nowadays you do names or little arrows or little crosses and
Well, they used to do Marine
it's so
Corps.
small. Well, they didn't meat tags on them, but
Yeah, so because they figured if
the
they
kids
found
today, like I said, the girls want to do a little arrow or a little feather
a
with
simple tattoo.
Yeah, the simple, what they call simple tattoos. But that's a good, like Jack
One of
was
the most
saying, it's a
complicated
good
areas
spot
to tattoo.
that's covered most of the time, unless you want
Yeah.
to show it, but it's easily shown.
Yeah.
So they graduate to that, and it's a large panel of skin.
Yeah, you're putting a fountain in the middle of a
You're
3-acre
putting a dot.
lawn.
You got a 15-acre farm, and
Yeah.
you put a tiny house in the middle of it.
It's like, hey, what do you think of my landscaping? And you walk them
Cool.
out to the middle of this giant field with a little fountain. Then
Bird feeder.
inevitably, the person who owns the land and put the fountain there is like, well, I want to add to
Yeah.
this. What should I do? It's like, so now I've got to decorate this huge, beautiful area
Off
all
this dot.
around this little fountain.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
So it's a bad spot to put a little tattoo for that reason as well. I
Okay,
agree.
so let's move on to the back. Probably one of the most common second or
Shoulder
third
blades are
piercing,
for
yeah.
sure, and again, it's got a lot of spots. Right on the shoulder blades, you're probably around 5 to maybe a 7 for some people, depending.
I didn't think it was
Right,
that bad.
once you get underneath that shoulder blade, that lower ridge towards into the center of the back, I don't know what the muscle's called. Maybe some of you med students can help me, but right below the shoulder blade, there's a muscle that comes down into the spine. That's starts to get a little worse.
Yeah.
Kidneys really are probably the worst spot on the back.
Yeah, over top of the
I'd say
kidneys.
The
is
further
horrible.
you move down is what I experience. Everybody thinks it's going to be the spinal
that's
cord.
a good.
No.
But I didn't really
No.
think the spinal cord
Nope.
backbone, it was really that bad at all.
That's
Back
it's
over
just
your
like the
ribs.
shin. You think the
Yeah.
shin's going to be
And
the
the
worst part of your lower leg, and it's not.
It's not.
Because you got to keep
Yeah.
in mind, there's a lot of
And once
armor
you get-
right there between your spinal cord
Well,
and your
yeah.
actual.
Once you get off your ribs and your back and you start coming down like where your kidneys are and that like love handle fatty area.
Oh, yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
connected to the side of the ribs and stuff. That
Yeah.
soft
Like the
tissue,
butt.
dude. That stuff is awful to get
Yeah.
tattooed.
Mhm.
It's awful.
Yeah,
I remember
lower
the girls got
outside
the
love handle,
Lower
area,
backs
yeah.
tattoos, like they would do great in the center.
And the
And then
further
when
you
you
got
start moving
outside,
over,
man,
yeah, the worse it would get.
the squirms start coming.
So it's
Okay.
probably right up there with the butt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, it
it
starts getting
is.
very
It's
tender
kind of
like
the-
the butt. It's very
It's
sensitive.
kind of about the bottom of the rib cage downward, I'm guessing, is the further you go down, the more sensitive the area gets.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Rib cage. Say
Yeah.
again.
Bottom of the rib cage on the back, downward.
Oh yeah,
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 it starts to get
Yeah.
brutal.
yeah.
The next place would be, of course, the arms. And, you know, we've already kind of talked
Yeah,
about
we kind of
the
talked
arms.
about the outer forearm, outer arm
pretty
overall
simple.
is going to be a 3 to a
Yeah.
5 probably for most people, depending on the tattoo.
Yep.
And as you roll around to that more,
That's
well,
gonna
less
graduate a little
hair,
bit.
more hidden out of the waist skin, it gets a little
A
worse.
little bit worse.
You know, it goes up to maybe a 4 to 7.
I always
Yep.
put it this way. It's like the outside, usually not too bad, but the more you bring your toe in.
Pony.
Pony's putting his fucking 2 cents
Yeah.
in here.
Does they hurt Poner?
It's like
Is that what
the
they hurt,
easiest
baby?
way I think to explain it is on the upper arm, especially, is just take your forefinger and set it against the outside, and then draw it all the way around to the inside to the same spot, and
Yeah.
you'll notice how it gets
It
kind of a
changes.
little more ticklish.
The more the
when you
treble
get-
goes up, the high end, the more you
Right.
start
Yeah.
feeling those high, the sharper
high
pains.
notes.
That's
Yeah.
where that tattoo zone is.
Right.
Yeah.
So if that area, that's a good reason, a good thing. If you drag your finger like over the top of your forearm, there's no type of tickle. It's kind of a lower
Yeah.
resonation, And as you go in, you start feeling those tingly more feelings.
Yep.
That's where that tattoo pain is going to set. So if you can feel those with just kind of
Yeah.
touching, then it's going to
Yeah,
typically.
your nerve endings change every 1/8 of an inch.
Yep.
So like that's
And
why it
it's-
feels touch your knuckle and then touch the top of your hand. It
Yeah.
feels different.
And it's also the
Two
same
spots,
way if you
different
go
spots.
on the inside of your arm and you run upward
Exactly.
up into your armpit.
Exactly.
It will be more sensitive.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
those higher
basically, it
end-
kind of goes that way. I think that the outer, though, I didn't think the upper bicep
It's not
was bad at
horrible.
all.
It's not horrible, but the inside
upper
sucks.
upper
Inside
tricep.
sucks.
Yeah, like a tricep
Yeah.
and like
Upper
towards that
tricep
armpit.
is bad.
Yeah.
Well, and I thought the very top of
Yeah.
where this black hair is, if you can see it, right at the top of that peak
That
where it goes
sucks.
up under your shoulder.
That's
Worst
getting
part of
into
my
that
Makes you
arm,
wanna
I think.
Yeah,
scream
that
like a
gets to
little
that
girl,
sweet
doesn't
meat
it?
again.
Say, oh
Makes you
yeah,
wanna scream.
your butthole just puckers
yeah.
right up.
Like I didn't
Oh,
think my
man.
elbow was bad, but like once you got to the
Elbow
inside where
wasn't
the
that bad.
like the funny bones at,
Yeah, that little
dude,
funny
that was
area right
not
there.
fun to get
So
tattooed.
we purposely avoided, like when we designed this,
Mhm.
we talked about that when we designed it. It's like
Oh.
we want to avoid this spot, and this spot.
No, man, we're getting it covered. Let's tattoo all of it.
Yeah, they don't tattoo well. It's not gonna add overall any aesthetic, pluses to the piece. So why?
It was like it's the sleeve. A lot of it's negative on
Right.
purpose.
yeah.
That's the way we wanted to go.
Yeah.
And that's the way they do.
And, so this wasn't too bad. I'll tell you, doing that just solid color bomb on the inside of my elbow, in the elbow pit. Oh
the
my
ditch.
God, that hurt.
Yeah.
That's
And I
fun.
looked like a heroin addict for weeks afterwards.
It bruises so bad.
Oh,
Yeah, it
yes.
reacts pretty harsh
Yeah,
to
it's so
tattoos.
bendable and flexible
It's-
skin. It's horrible.
That skin is almost perfectly just like the kind of bottom part of your
Where your
neck
neck
coming
bends
down
and
into
comes
here.
down, yep.
Yeah.
Because when I got my throat done, the same thing happened.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I bruised down into like the top half.
There's
of
a
my
lot of
chest.
blood vessels that are very
Yep.
close
Yeah,
to the surface.
closest exactly.
You talk about not moving, man. When I got my throat tattooed, like any little
Oh yeah.
pulling your chin up or biting your
Yeah.
teeth together, or same thing with my face when Jack did it. Like you squint your eye or like wiggle your ear
Somebody
or
makes
bite
you
your
laugh.
teeth together. Dude, all that stuff makes such a difference in the movement of your skin on your face and your throat. Like
Yeah.
you cannot, like when he was doing my throat, I had to swallow when he would wipe and dip.
Yeah.
Because if you swallow in the middle of him pulling a line, you just messed some stuff up.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, that's why relax. Don't
And you talk about
hold tension.
concentrate.
Don't just let it go dead.
Okay,
you know?
so somebody's going to ask. So the armpit.
The armpit, it's hard to tattoo. It's really squishy and like spongy. I've done a
Nothing
few.
underneath it.
I've done some stuff with my buddies back home, like cupcakes and their armpits and stupid stuff. And it looks beautiful. It heals like you were saying about the knee. It heals great.
Yeah.
But when you're tattooing it, it's super spongy, so you have a tendency, some people can overwork it easily. And it's a nightmare to heal because it sweats, the hair grows, it's closing and opening, your clothes wear on it.
I've always wondered I've noticed this in certain people is that the pigment is even a slightly different shade sometimes under the arm.
So are people's armpits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking.
Yeah.
Because of discoloration of your tone of your skin.
Yeah. For whatever reason, some people are whiter there. Some people get darker skin there.
Yep.
And then on top of that, it's a different skin.
Right.
Yeah, so that's going to affect how it looks.
Everybody
yeah.
I've tattooed like a full colored, like color bomb piece in there. When it heals, good God, is it bright. And it holds that color, like the whites, the yellows, everything's in there. It's super brilliant because it doesn't see any sun. It doesn't get rubbed on. It doesn't get messed with. Once it's healed, it's in there.
Yeah, they're good. But yeah, I'd say if I had to put a number on them, and
I'd go 8 or 9.
yeah,
8 or
I'd
9.
say 7 to 9
Okay.
is probably about an average for most people.
And that brings us on to the neck, which we already kind of touched on a little bit.
Side of the neck, in my opinion, was like a 6.
And that's a real common place.
Yeah, very
for
common spots on the
name
yeah.
or the little
back of the
devil.
neck, a 2. It was nothing. I couldn't even tell you with the back there. Now you come to like from here forward, the throat.
Where all the important
We're at like a
stuff
9
is.
and a 10, dude. It was plus the concentration level, not swallowing, not moving. Like,
the uncomfortableness of getting your neck tattooed and what an artist has to do to do what he's doing. It's just uncomfortable for both of you.
yeah, the skin's
'cause
awful.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's a skin that's very, very
It's
loose.
chicken skin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know that all they want to do is swallow, all they want to do is move, all they want to do, and so but you have to put a certain amount of pressure in an area to do what you do.
Get what you need.
So it's a balance between I don't want to choke this guy,
You
I don't
feel like you're being choked.
but I don't want to not do what I need to do, so I have to do it 5 times to make it right.
Yeah.
So it it really depends a lot on the client and how willing they are to just be a pin cushion and let me do what I need to do, understanding that I'm doing it so you can have a killer tattoo.
Killer
You know how
tattoo.
when you're a kid and your mom make you wear a tie? You had
Yeah.
to button that top button, and it wasn't choking you, but it was very uncomfortable. 'cause
Yeah.
that's a lot like when you're getting your neck stretched for your throat, in my opinion. Like it wasn't like I was choking to death, but it was very uncomfortable pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you get right here where your neck and your throat meet, that's a puke point. If you push on that,
Oh, yeah.
it makes you feel like you're going to vomit. Well, it's
Yeah,
not
it's
fun to
like
get
when I-
tattooed at all.
When I first got into punk rock, I tried wearing a dog collar one day, and that was like one of the most uncomfortable.
Right, like
It's
experiences.
awful.
It's like, oh, so collars aren't comfortable.
Right.
That's when you kind of connected with the people that wear pajamas to Walmart.
Yep.
You're like,
Yeah.
that makes sense, man.
Oh, yeah, it
That's
all makes
comfortable.
sense now.
That's
It's all
comfortable.
about
Now
the
this area,
comfortable.
like from the top of your throat
Yeah.
to like your chin, the bottom of your chin, that's a whole nother beast. Like,
Yeah.
good Lord, does it amp up?
Yeah, the very
Okay.
front edge of my throat was very painful and up close to behind the ear
Yes,
as it
not
went
fun.
up over behind my ear. I'd call those areas probably 8s and 9s.
Yeah, I'd say like
Overall, like on the the kind of big chunks, the big sides there where a lot of people get
the
pieces.
glands and stuff.
Yeah.
That was probably 6s
Yeah.
and
I'd agree with that.
high 5s to low 7s, you
Yeah.
know. So,
But like once you get on that jaw area, like when you tattooed my face,
yeah.
the hair follicles is rough because you can feel the skin kind of popping between hair follicles.
Yeah.
Okay, so the
Like you can
scalps.
hear it and feel it.
Because I was going to go on to the.
Yeah,
let's go
the
on to the
face.
back and the
Okay.
neck first.
Back of the neck's a breeze.
Okay, so then
Yeah,
let's
it's-
move into scalp.
Think about how much sun gets baked there.
Yeah, how many
and
times you've been
your
burnt.
coats
Yeah.
and your clothes are
slapping
rubbing there. It's
Yeah.
just kind of used to
Yeah,
it.
that's.
easy.
And I've heard from people who've gotten the napes done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
the
call it
nape
like a
and neck.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
most.
that's relatively easy.
Okay, so let's move on to. We can either move on to the face or
Well,
the
the head.
scalp.
Let's just
The head.
The whole head,
yeah, the head.
The hair follicles, like I said, was rough. The skin on, like once you get to your face, where it's not as much hair, dense hair, it wasn't as bad. The temples are soft; they suck.
Or like a ditch, from what I understand.
The cheek
Kinda.
muscle wasn't that bad. Like up on the cheek wasn't bad.
Yeah.
That one little thin line it goes over, like right where that thing on your ear, that the tragus on your ear is.
Yes.
Ooh, it sounds like you're landing a 747 on your face. It's so loud. And then like but it wasn't bad for pain. But when he got down here where there's that little light spot on the like that corner of my jaw where it bends,
Yeah.
dude, I felt
Close
that in the
to the
front of my
joint.
bottom teeth. Like it hurt all the way across the front of my face. It was lightning bolts.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that was intense.
Yeah, that's again the thing. What are you getting, and how many pixels to the left or right are you getting it? Because there's there's so many nerves that react to so many different things. Like you said, the top of your cheeks and stuff. Well, that's almost like the top
It's
of your
not bad.
chest. It's just built
that's-
for that certain
here
stimuli.
To here was like crossing 3/4 around the world. Like it
Yeah.
changed so much from like here down to here, down to here, down to here. It
Yeah.
was unreal how much it changed in just that. What did it took 5-6 hours we did it, or
Something like that, maybe.
it was 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night until 5 in the morning, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think
7.5 hours.
So 7.5 hours, dude. The amount of change that I went through in them 7 hours was pretty impressive. It was like leaving America in New York City and flying over, stopping off in like Ireland and England.
Doing a
And
world
then,
tour.
Then you went to Germany, which is kind of the same but different. Then you went to like Switzerland. Then you went to Russia. Then you went around to like
What would you
to
say
Alaska,
overall
and
then?
back.
The experience overall, what would it be from 1 to 10?
I'd probably give it like overall, probably like a 6.
6.
Well, it's not so bad.
You would
6,
probably
7.
agree with me then, like on the head. Like,
Yeah, what'd you think?
You can really tell there's different kinds of pain that you can experience, and just getting a smaller tattoo machine on the side of my head, the vibration was, just kind of lumping pain as just one kind of.
It was another thing you had to
yeah.
factor in to deal with.
Yeah, and
it's-
that was like the most unsettling, I thought.
Yeah.
Was just like the vibration, the noise,
The violence.
stuff like that. With the actual
The closer you
sting
get to the
and stuff
facial
like that.
bones too.
Yeah,
Because
so it
there's
was
all kinds of
vibrates,
things.
yeah.
weird.
There's
I
a
would
lot of
say-
stuff going on in your
I
face.
enjoyed getting my head tattooed with Jack's rotary way more than I got the diamond on my face with the
Yeah.
traditional machine. That thing blacked my eye for like 2 or 3 days afterwards. It hit so hard.
It was a traditional machine, I think, on the side of my
Oh,
head,
good
and
God.
man, the noise. I was just like,
It's like a jackhammer on your side of your face.
But overall, I didn't think the hard part side of my head, like, that didn't hurt.
What
too
about where it got
bad.
close to like down by your ear?
By
bend?
the back of the ear, no problem. But when it came close to the temple, it ramped up a couple notches
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he got close to my temple bone, like that bridge or that brow area, man, I had to close my eyes because it was going to make me
Yeah.
nauseous from my eyes
Yeah, I don't.
jumping
Yeah,
from the vibration. I had to close my eyes. That
That-
was going to make me sick.
yeah, that probably would have made me sick too. If it
Yeah, it's
got
like
any
somebody
further
shaking the
up.
crap out of you. Just like, I can't see anything. It's blurry.
Yeah, it's very odd.
The drop,
Awful.
just under the drop of water rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over and over again. And then I guess the ears would be the only thing left. And we kind of talked already about that. We don't really talk about the pain level, but it's just not a good area to
No.
tattoo.
I've tattooed a few spider webs in them, but like,
Just
It's rough.
less is more in those areas. They're like fingers. Don't try to cram
Yeah.
a bunch of crap in there. Accent the area with the shape and make it look overall aesthetically cool instead of
Right.
going, oh, I want this to
Sistine
remind me
Chapel
of
in
that.
there.
Well,
Yeah.
then that's not the area just to stick
No.
something.
Right.
Because you can do way too much in an ear really
Absolutely.
easy.
and it works
it's-
a lot better with piercing, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
and
And
that's-
there's a lot of very unique designs out there that you can express yourself.
Yeah.
And then if as life changes, express yourself in different ways.
Absolutely.
yeah, if you want to do your ear, do something like a nice little thin flourish on the outside of
Yes.
that curve there where you got the big flat spot or
I did a
simple stuff like that.
spider webs.
Yeah, I've done spider webs. They're not-
And I think that looks really nice. It can
Looks
look really
neat.
cool because it kind of fans out and follows.
yeah,
the
it comes
shape.
out of the hole and comes out. It's
Yep,
kind of
sure.
neat.
But yeah,
Okay. I think we've covered the whole body now.
yeah. And if we missed something that you're really
Yeah,
curious
right
about
in.
and you want us to go into depth about, or you have a specific question about an area, please let us know.
Please.
Let's know. First off, thank you for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you like this. If you liked it, also share with other people.
Yeah, tell your
it's
friends
good for
about
you. It makes the heart feel better. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe either where you're listening or where you're watching this. And if you like merch, you like swag, you like t-shirts, you like fanny packs, you like, I don't know, just about everything, check out our merch store. A link is in the description. Till next time, here's hoping all your tattoos and piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, we all hope to see you for your body piercing and tattooing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody.
Call your
Hey,
mom.
guys, be good.
Bye.